Hello everyone, this is NetherTrey, and welcome back to Let's Play Resonant Rise 3. This is episode 22. So, I am on Y level 19 at the bottom of our little base we got going here, which means we're almost to the bottom. But like I said, I want to build a big turbine setup down here, so I'm going to go down a little further than this because I don't know how much more room I'm going to need, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I think I'm going to go down about 3 more layers before I start building this thing. But we're going to want some other things as well if we want to get turbines going. So I'd like to automate some things today. And one of the things that I'd like to automate that I've really been tired of making manually. Also, I've had the Ender Quarry running for a little while. So it's giving us a lot of materials because we're really short on diamonds. We're up to 13 now again. But our problem is that we keep running out of power. Like, it's fine, it'll just slow down our Ender Quarry, and we keep enough power on hand so that our applied energistic system doesn't shut down, which is good. And I'm hoping we're not we are overflowing our little setup over here a little bit, so I should probably turn it off for a little while, because we have enough diamonds to get us going. So I'm going to go over here and shut off this again, and let power build back up and our ore system catch up. But like I said, I'd like to automate a few things. So one of the major things that I want to automate is Enderium, because Enderium's kind of a pain, and it's needed for a lot of things in late game builds. Luckily, the recipes for Enderium have expanded since Enderium was first introduced by thermal expansion. It used to be you had to melt down ender pearls and mix it with a powder and then put it into a furnace. But not anymore, because Ender.io adds a nice thing called the alloy smelter that we've been using a lot. And if you look at the Enderium recipe, Enderium ingot, this is the recipe where you have to like melt down the ender pearls and then mix it with pyrotheum in a furnace or an induction smelter in order to get your Enderium. With Ender.io, you can do it with the alloy smelter with Enderium base, pyrotheum dust, and ender pearls. So you skip the liquid step, so that saves us having to set up a magma crucible. So we're going to use this recipe to make Enderium. The first thing we're going to need is Enderium base, which also has an alloy smelter recipe. So we have tin, silver, and shiny. The first thing we're going to need is an alloy smelter. And those are made really easily. We made one at the beginning of the series, just a bunch of furnaces, machine chassis. Wow, we are missing lots of stuff. Let's automate machine chassis, because we use those a lot too. So just like we usually do, we are going to go in here, look up the machine chassis recipe. I don't think we have the recipe made for blank patterns. That's another thing we should probably automate, is blank patterns. So let's see how many more of these we can make. 1. Let's see why. Because we are out of quartz glass. We have fused quartz, but we don't have quartz glass. Let's see if we can make a bunch of this. No, because we don't have enough nether quartz dust. How much nether quartz do we have? We're up to 82. So we did automate nether quartz in our farming system last time. So we can also add a recipe for pulverizing nether quartz. So let's do that as well. So we'll say 1 nether quartz. We have to make sure this is set to processing pattern. 1 nether quartz becomes 1 nether quartz dust. We'll encode that. We're going to need a pulverizer, which I have now automated. See if we can craft one of those up. We got that. Now we're going to want an upgraded pulverizer, which means we're going to need some signalum and some Enderium. So let me get all this stuff together, because this is the stuff we're going to need to finally get this stuff automated, and then we shouldn't have to do these cuts all the time, which would be fantastic. Alright, so since we're getting an alloy smelter going, I am making some processing patterns for some alloys. So here's our processing pattern for Enderium base. 2 tin, a silver, and a shiny makes 4 Enderium base, so that's cool. We're also going to want signalum. I have no idea how to spell this stuff, so we're going to go to a redstone furnace. Signalum, like that. Signalum. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so signalum is made in the alloy smelter with 3 copper, a silver, and 10 redstone. So copper, 1, 2, 3, silver, 1, and 10 redstone. Oops, one too many. There we go. And that will make how many signalum? I forget already. Signalum. That will make 4 signalum, which is perfect. We don't have any right now, so we're going to have to make some in order to pop that recipe in. So we'll take our copper, we'll take this stuff that we don't have much of, our silver, and our redstone. Just grab a bunch of that. Wow. Yeah, so I'm running at about 32 FPS right now, which isn't bad, but I can definitely tell the drop since I first started in this world. So we're going to come over here to our alloy smelter, copper, silver, redstone. We'll take the rest of this redstone back. I also made a recipe for silicon and a recipe for the nether quartz dust. Those will be for our pulverizer. The silicon, the reason I'm using a pulverizer and not a sag mill is because a pulverizer will pulverize sand 1-to-1 for silicon, whereas the sag mill, without any kind of dark steel balls or flint, will only have a chance of producing silicon. So that gets really messy when you do automated crafting, because it will only send the sand that is requested to make silicon, and if you don't happen to get one, it will really gum up your system. So that's why we're doing it with a pulverizer. So now we can come over here, put that in there, and we have our signalum recipe. Oops, we'll put that in a new row. And then we're also going to want, we have our Enderium base recipe, so we're going to want our actual Enderium recipe, and we have a thunderstorm. Let's see if we can sleep and get rid of that. Yep. So come back over here and we'll look up our recipe for Enderium, which is somewhere. There's so much Enderium stuff in this pack. Here we go, Enderium ingot. And that is 1 pyrotheum to, no, we're not going to do that one. We're doing this one. 2 Enderium base, 1 pyrotheum, 2 ender pearls. So 2 Enderium base, 1 pyrotheum. We're probably actually going to need to make one of these, so we'll grab this stuff out. And 2 ender pearls. Oop. Throw that in there. Do we have any Enderium? No, we do not. So we'll cook up some of these quick. Now we're going to need a lot of Enderium for this base, or for this build, because inside the turbines we are going to use Enderium blocks. We may upgrade to Ludicrite later, but those are ludicrously expensive, hence their name. So we're going to need a lot of Enderium. We're going to need 37 Enderium blocks per turbine with the build that I use. Now they are modular and multi-block, so you can make them in different setups, but the one that I do uses 37 Enderium blocks. Go over here, throw that in there, and now we have our Enderium pattern. So we're also, we've got our ME interface. Do we have any cables? We have lots of cables, so we're going to take those. We already have power run down there through our RF tunnel system. Do we need anything else? We might need item conduits. We have those. We're going to need... that might be good for now. If we need more, I'll run back up and grab it. So also, I had to space these out because I always forget that the redstone signal from the ME emitters, or from the ME level emitters, will react with the blocks next to them as well, which I hope this doesn't affect this. We'll find out later. But if I have them right next to each other, as soon as one of them gets to the point where the ME level emitter is emitting a redstone signal, it will shut off the other one as well. So I didn't want that, so I split those up. I can probably... Oh, you know what? I still need to upgrade these. So let me upgrade this redstone furnace and this pulverizer to Resonant, and we'll be back. Alright guys, so we're back down in our auto crafting room where our machines are, and I'm just getting ready to set up the redstone furnace and the pulverizer. So these other systems we had, the ME channels below, we don't need ME level emitters for these, so we're just going to take some cobblestone and fill that in. We are going to need power and we're going to need an output, so let's take these. I didn't bring cables along, so we'll just get the rest of this set up in the meantime. So redstone furnace, pulverizer. We do want to have this set to redstone ignored, just so that the ME level emitter down here doesn't interfere. We are going to take our two interfaces, put one here and one here. Make sure we haven't used up all our channels, except I'm going to have to go all the way around. Let's just dig back through the wall here real quick. Alright, so we've got 3 channels used there. This is where our regular cable is, so this is a dense cable, so that's fine. There's one channel coming in there, and there's 2 channels coming in through here. These are, oh, these are actually connected on that line. Which should be okay, I think. We just need to watch and make sure these are actually going to accept their channels. So in the pulverizer, we're going to go up here. We're going to put in our nether quartz dust pattern and our silicon pattern. We're going to dig out the wall a little bit more just so we have room to put down our alloy smelter right here. Let's make sure we have our configuration set up correctly. So we're accepting from the top, we're outputting in the back. Same thing here, accepting on top, outputting in the back. And the alloy smelter is from Ender.io, so we are accepting in the top. The alloy smelter from Ender.io is kind of nice because you can both accept and push from the same direction. So we can just push it right back into the ME interface that's going to be above it. So let's grab our cables quick. Or conduits, I mean. Energy conduits, and we're going to need another ME interface. Done. Whoa. Run back here again. Alright, so conduit, 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 and that should connect all these machines up to power. Yes, good. Alright, we want one more ME interface here. Come on, update your channels. 4, there we go. Alright. That's getting power, yes. Oh, we're also going to want to put an octatic capacitor right there. So let's run over here and see if we can request some things. So we did silicon. Pull these out just to see. So let's see if we can do 10 silicon. We are getting it in. You know what? We're getting it slowly because we didn't put our augments in. So our pulverizer, right there's our sand that went in. Augments. 1, 2, oops. Like that. So there we got our 3 augments. Our redstone furnace. 2, 3. Cool, so that appears to be working. And then we're going to take our different patterns here for the alloy smelter. So we got Enderium base, we got our Enderium, we got, I also went ahead and did energetic alloy, and then Signalum. We're also going to want vibrant alloy. So let me go in here. Vibrant alloy is made by taking energetic alloy and combining it with an ender pearl. Oops. Vibrant, do we have any? Yeah, we got a couple vibrant alloys. Let's do that. Throw that in our alloy smelter as well. Come over here, we'll type in vibrant, take that out. Let's just type in alloy so we can see both. We'll take out our energetic. So it should make, yep. So it's going to make our energetic alloy first, and then it will smelt it into a vibrant alloy. And there it is. Cool. So we now have automated alloys. I want to do some work on our channels here at some point because we're going to need a lot of channels to run throughout this base, and 32 channels per pole over here isn't going to be enough. So we're going to do some more ME tunneling. I don't think we're going to do that this episode. What we're going to do now is I am going to prepare to start making our turbines. So I'm going to clear out this a little bit and I'll be back. Alright guys, I am going to add one more recipe. I made an induction smelter, got it up to Resonant, put all the augments in it. We're also going to want to be able to make refined iron, which or dictionaries with steel, which we're going to need a lot of. So I'm actually going to need another blank pattern. We're out of glass again. Gonna take that over here. Oh, you know what? We're also gonna need an interface. I'm really glad I automated a lot of this stuff. One ME interface. I need to get a door on here yet too. Take this, put it here. So there are 5 channels there. That one makes 6, 7, and then I believe it goes down through here into our main line. So we got 15 channels being used in this dense cable, so we should be okay for a little bit. So then if I go in here to refined iron, you can see it has a craft. By the way, if you want to craft something when there's already some in there, left clicking just gives you what's in there. If you middle click, it will bring up the crafting. So we'll do, oops, we'll do 32, which is going to take a whole bunch of our charcoal that we're making with our tree farm, a bunch of iron. It's going to craft a bunch of charcoal dust, and then it's going to make the 32 refined iron. So here it's starting to come in already, which means everything must be going really fast. So let's see if we can catch this. So there's the charcoal being pulverized. There's the iron being smelted into steel or refined iron. 26 already. We're up to 142 nether quartz, by the way. It's not going quite as fast as I would have liked, so I may expand the nether quartz farm just a little bit. Let's go up and see how big it is right now. So right now it only does 9 by 3 is 27 plants. I can probably cut out all these little blocks here and make all those nether quartz bushes too, and I might do that between segments. But for now I'm going to keep preparing. Oh, did you see that tree go? For now I'm going to keep preparing to get our turbine going, so I'll be right back. Alright guys, so this is the plan. Inside this hole in the wall, we're going to build a turbine. This is a 9 by 9 by 16 turbine, which is huge, and we'll put out 24,000 RF per tick. In order to power this, we're going to need steam, and the easiest way to make steam for a turbine is by using a big reactor set to active cooling. So what we're actually going to do is we are going to build a 3 by 9 by 9 big reactor right here, and it's going to be directly up against our turbine. And that is going to get us the steam that we need. So we're going to put one of these on each wall. So in total we'll have 96,000 RF per tick coming out of turbines. So there's going to be 4 turbines, 4 big reactors making steam for them. But we're not going to do that this episode. We're going to do that probably next episode. So for the rest of this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to get together the pieces and the automation that we need in order to actually get that going in the next episode. So let's run over to our little control panel here. And we're going to type in big reactor, and that will bring up all the parts of the big reactor mod. We're going to need a lot of things. We're going to need reactor casings, which is going to mean we need graphite. So in order to make graphite, we're going to take charcoal, which we have automated now. 1 charcoal in there, and then from 1 charcoal, oh wow, we got a lot of stuff on us. From 1 charcoal, we can smelt that and make a graphite bar. Just like that. Make a pattern out of that. And in our pattern interface terminal, we are going to find our redstone furnace. Don't see our furnace. Let's go find out why we can't see our furnace. So this is our machine room. Our furnace is right here, redstone furnace. Should have plenty of channels. We got 5 channels. Five channels coming out of there. That's on a separate line. Redstone furnace. We'll put our recipe right there. Let's run over to our terminal again and see if we can find it. Pattern interface terminal. There's our pulverizer and there's our redstone furnace. So they're all the way at the bottom. Cool. So now we have that pattern. We're going to go back to our big reactors. Change this back to crafting patterns. So that'll get reactor casings. And then with our reactor casings, we're going to need more blank patterns, which means we're going to need more quartz glass. And we are out of quartz dust. So we're going to take Certus quartz and we're going to make a whole bunch of that. So now that we've got a bunch of quartz dust again, we'll go back out here. make our blank patterns. 26. Big reactor. All right, so we're going to need reactor controllers, which we have no reactor casings for. So we'll go down here, throw our pattern right here. Make a bunch of reactor casings. There's our pattern for our controller. We're going to need reactor control rods. What are we missing for that? Graphite. So we're going to need to get some graphite going. Here comes the graphite. We're going to need, we don't need a reactor power tap because we're not going to be getting power out of the big reactors. We're going to need reactor access ports. We're going to need reactor coolant ports, which we're missing something for. Steel. We used up all our steel. So refined iron. There we go. That'll get us our reactor coolant ports. Throw all this stuff in here. Back to big reactor. Won't need a RedNet port. Won't need a computer port. We won't need reactor glass. Well, yeah, we'll do that just in case. So reactor glass. Reactor redstone port we shouldn't need because it's going to run all the time. So then we need our turbine parts, which means we're going to need cyanite. Cyanite is the leftover product of yellorium after it's been processed in a big reactor. So you need this for a lot of the turbine parts. So turbine glass we're going to need after we get our turbine casings. Turbine housing. So we'll throw that in here. There's all our big reactor parts, and then these will be all our turbine parts. So that'll get us our turbine glass pattern. We're going to need a turbine controller. We out of cyanite. No, we have lots of cyanite. Oh, we need plutonium for this, which means we're going to need a cyanite reprocessor. Right. Oops. So we're going to need one of these. Now this is going to need water and power in order to turn cyanite into plutonium. Plutonium basically acts the same as yellorium. It basically takes two cyanite and makes it into a plutonium. And that's useful because it means you can recycle your cyanite after it's been used. So we are going to throw this somewhere. Give me just a minute. Guys, so what I ended up doing was putting the cyanide reprocessor right next to our cyclic assembler because there's already a water conduit back there. So that'll fill that up, and then we're going to need a little bit of cyanide. There we go. We got 2 cyanide, we got 1 plutonium. That'll be enough to get our pattern rolling. So we can go back downstairs. Alright, so turbine controller, just like that. So we are going to need another plutonium in order to make those. Our turbine power port, we're going to need a lot of those because they only allow 10,000 RF per tick per each out of the big reactor. So we're going to need 3 per big reactor since they'll be putting out 24,000 RF per tick. Turbine fluid port, we're going to need those to put the leftover water back into the big reactor. We're going to need our turbine rotor bearing, but in order to make that we need rotor bearing shafts. And that costs cyanide as well. We're also going to need turbine rotor blades. Let's throw some of these patterns in here. Glass controller. Oop. That. So we're going to need our rotor bearing, which we're going to need to make the rotor for. That'll make us one of those. We're not going to need a computer port. We've already got those. That should be everything that we need to get this thing going. Oops, down too far. Go back up here. That there, like that. All right. So that means we should be able to auto-craft everything we need to build this thing. The only other thing we're going to want to do is make sure we grab a handful of cyanide, which I can't believe we don't have more than that. We have to go make sure that our reactor is outputting cyanide correctly. So we'll throw this in here, let that cook up. Let's take a peek in behind our big reactor. So this is the input, and that's still got plenty of yellorium. This is our output, that's empty. So it's all going into the system. So that's fine. We just haven't built up that much, I guess. Probably because we don't really use all that much power unless the turbo, which, let's turn this back one for a little bit. So the only thing that really uses all that much power right now is our ender quarry, which we don't have on most of the time because we can't keep up with the demand. Alright guys, so we're pretty much set up to get a turbine going. It's just a matter of waiting on resources and crafting a few things like enderium blocks. Speaking of which, let's go in here quick and do a recipe for enderium blocks. Gonna need a blank pattern again. Quartz glass. And we'll do our enderium block, and that should be able to automatically craft enderium blocks. Now that does take a long time, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this recipe in here. I'm going to go in here, we're going to say we want 37 Enderium blocks. Now that's saying we're missing a lot of coal, a bunch of ender pearls, and some blaze powder. Now I can throw a recipe for blaze rods in here. Makes one of these. I don't know if it's always, I think it actually is 2. Gonna need some more black patterns. Take that, throw it in here. Gonna need to put it in the pulverizer. Now, we're also going to need a bunch of ender pearls. You know what, I'll get this set up between episodes, guys, and I'll have everything set up for us. And I will start auto-crafting the Enderium blocks between episodes too, so that next time we will hopefully be able to start building our reactors and our turbines. So that's an episode for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more, like if you like what you saw, and we'll see you next time.